Hey everyone, Kathy the Vegan Prepper here, filming the first video like this I think I've ever done. It's sort of a reactionary video to the fact that there was just a cyber attack on the JBS meat processing plant, I believe. It's just interesting. So like on the heels of the Colonial Pipeline, and now we have this happening with the meat processing plant. And so I did have some thoughts come up, maybe not the thoughts that you would think I would think as a vegan. So obviously, while I don't feel personally afraid or affected by a meat shortage, I understand that there are a lot of people out there for whom that will present a very real problem, and that's why I'm making this video. It's because I have compassion on people who are affected by this, who feel like there is no other option but for them to seriously increase their grocery budget to buy beef or whatever. People who might start panic buying meat, which they aren't capable of storing and may allow to go bad. It's definitely not something that stays good long unless you have it, in a freezer, or you can pressure can it, but probably the people who would be pressure canning it are even a lower population than the people who have plenty of freezer space to stock up on these things. So Mr. Vegan Prepper and I made a video relatively recently on the vegan substitutes for things like meat and dairy and eggs, and I'm really glad that that is on the channel now, so you can go check that out if that is something that is interesting to you. And I do definitely make this video with nothing but compassion. I remember what it was like when we first went vegan, especially being a Southern girl. I'm originally from Texas. Hello, steak, right? Steak was always like, if you asked me, 4 or 5 years ago, what was your favorite food? It was steak, hands down. So I get how difficult it can be to transition, how much of a mind warp it can be to try to figure out what you're going to be eating when you don't have like that main staple that you're used to having. And so really what I would say right now, especially, again, this is like for really more for non-vegans, especially if you're not vegan, start learning now the alternatives. And I don't just mean like plant-based, like that's a whole other topic. Mock meats and stuff. I'm talking beans, good whole foods, beans, tempeh, things like that. All of the amazing, wonderful things that you can do with these foods. Because I believe too that there is security not only in knowing what to do, knowing how to prepare these foods, but there is security in stocking up on these foods and going after these foods because they're less desirable foods. Like vegans make up such a tiny part of the population, and our food is not desirable to most people. I know this from experience. Like when coronavirus hit, we were plenty stocked. When store shelves were bare, we were okay. We were taken care of. Now, occasionally I would still have to go to the store, and sure enough, all the dried beans, even like some places the rice would be gone, but like beans would still be there. Produce never was gone. Tofu was never gone. Like there's always plenty of tofu and tempeh because people don't know what to do with that, and they weren't going after that. And I even saw some memes. People like actually tagged me on Facebook in some memes, which were kind of funny, that were like, store shelves completely bare, but then there was a section of Beyond Meats and like tofu and stuff, and it's like everybody, like everything is gone except the vegan food. And it was just hilarious to me that that was what was left, and also that people were thinking it was funny. I thought it was kind of funny, but at the same time it made me actually feel just a little better, like just a little more secure. So I thought that I would sort of put that out there. If you can get used to doing foods that are different than the one you normally do, it is potentially, a less desirable source of food that, you might be able to make you and your family a little more secure. Just getting used to using some alternate foods, because I don't know what we're going to be seeing going forward, but it really does seem like the stuff that's getting hit the hardest right now is all that stuff that vegans don't eat. The meat, the dairy, the eggs, especially with all this stuff going on. So definitely check out our video on alternatives. And I will go ahead and leave you with one more thought specifically to beans. Definitely, if you are not used to eating a large amount of beans and you want to start stocking up on beans for your long-term pantry, get very familiar with cooking those beans and eating those beans and having a means to do the cooking without any kind of power. So like that's another thing, because beans have a longer cooking time. One of the things I like to do is pressure cook them and then dehydrate them so that I have them stored kind of en masse in a dehydrated form, which is easier to rehydrate than the just straight dried form that you normally get. But you know, the old saying, beans, the magical fruit, the more you eat, the more you toot. The truth behind that is actually the more you eat, the less you will toot. You have digestive enzymes, and the microbiome in your gut is going to shift and change so that you can better process beans as long as you begin to start eating them on a regular basis. Then that way, if you end up in a survival situation where you're relying a lot more on beans for your food than other things, your gut microbiome will already be adjusted and you'll be much more comfortable and much more able to eat those things en masse without discomfort. And you know what? Like the bloating and gas that you can get from beans when you're not used to it, it's no joke, right? Like that, it's painful. And so I would not want to be in some kind of emergency situation with, you know, kind of debilitating gas and bloating from eating beans. So yeah, I would say start looking at some vegan alternatives. And yeah, there is, like I said, a little bit of security in the fact that not everybody's going after these things as much as other things. Oh yeah, another thing I did when coronavirus first hit and everybody's paranoid about the China virus or whatever, I did most of my shopping at the Asian market because it's like a ghost town. So it's like where everybody was afraid to go, that's where I went. And that is where I was able to find my rice and find my stuff. Like we just never ran out of food. Not only were we well stocked, there was never not our food available. So anyway, it's just my thoughts on the latest thing that has come out. So anyway, hopefully it's helpful to you guys. And definitely like and subscribe. I'm putting out more and more content all the time to sort of help with prepping in a vegan way. And as always, I hope the rest of your day is good and your life stays wonderful. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys later. Bye.